kids, where are you? It's time for all the art to tell stories.
In the heart of a magical forest, where seasons danced with harmony, the animals eagerly awaited their most cherished celebration, Valentine's Day. This special day wasn't about chocolates or cards, but exchanging heart-shaped leaves as tokens of friendship, love, and gratitude. Each leaf, chosen with care, symbolized the bond between friends and neighbors. This year, Lily, a young rabbit with soft white fur and an adventurous spirit, was excited to participate for the first time. She had spent days hopping from tree to tree, picking the most beautiful heart-shaped leaves. She polished them until they gleamed, dreaming of the joy they would bring to her friends. On Valentine's Eve, the forest buzzed with excitement. Animals chattered about their plans, decorating their burrows and nests with garlands of flowers and glowing mushrooms. The air was sweet with the aroma of wild blossoms and honey, and the gentle hum of the nearby brook set a melodic tone. But as the animals slept under a moonlit sky, a sudden windstorm swept through the forest. It howled through the trees, scattering leaves, overturning decorations, and leaving chaos in its wake. When the sun rose, the forest was a mess, and the carefully collected heart-shaped leaves were gone. Lily woke to the sound of worried voices. Rushing out of her burrow, she saw her neighbors searching frantically for their leaves. Mrs. Owl's wise eyes brimmed with tears. The squirrels chattered anxiously, and even the usually calm deer looked distressed. Without the leaves, there can't be a Valentine's celebration, cried Mr. Hedgehog, his quills trembling. Determined to save the day, Lily stepped forward. We can find the leaves. The wind couldn't have carried them too far. If we work together, we can make this Valentine's Day even more special. Encouraged by Lily's words, the animals formed search parties. Lily led a group with her best friends, Pip the chipmunk, Buzzy the hummingbird, and Bella the fox. They ventured deep into the forest, following trails of scattered leaves. Their journey was not without challenges. They navigated through thorny bushes, crossed a fast-flowing stream, and even encountered a curious bear cub who tried to eat the leaves they had found. But with each challenge, the friends found ways to work together. Pip's small size allowed him to retrieve leaves from narrow crevices. Buzzy's speed helped scout ahead, and Bella's clever thinking solved tricky problems. As they gathered leaves, Lily noticed something magical happening. The more they worked together, the more vibrant and luminous the leaves became. It was as if the leaves absorbed the kindness and teamwork of their efforts. By the time they returned to the forest clearing, their collection of heart-shaped leaves glowed with an otherworldly light. The animals gasped in awe, their earlier worries forgotten. Mrs. Owl declared, "These are the most beautiful Valentine leaves I have ever seen. They shine with the love and unity of our forest family." The animals decorated the clearing with the luminous leaves, turning it into a magical wonderland. When night fell, the celebration began. There was singing, dancing, and laughter as everyone exchanged leaves and heartfelt words. Lily felt a warm glow in her heart as she saw the happiness around her. The animals had not only saved Valentine's Day, but had also deepened their bonds of friendship. From that day on, The heart-shaped leaves of the magical forest glowed every Valentine's Day. A reminder of the power of kindness, teamwork, and love. Lily, the brave little rabbit, became a legend, and her story was told for generations, inspiring all to cherish their connections and celebrate the beauty of giving. Ruby was no ordinary balloon. She was a bright, heart-shaped balloon with a shiny red surface that shimmered under the sunlight. She lived in Mr. Paolo's balloon shop, nestled on a charming cobblestone street in a small town. Each Valentine's Day, the town hosted a grand parade where balloons of all shapes and sizes floated through the streets, bringing joy to children and adults alike. Ruby had always dreamed of being chosen for the parade, imagining herself soaring above the crowd. But this year, as customers flocked to the shop to select balloons for the parade, Ruby remained unnoticed. The other balloons were quickly chosen. The sparkling gold stars, the giggling smiley faces, and even the elegant doves with shimmering white wings. Ruby watched them leave, one by one, as her string drooped lower with every passing moment. By the afternoon, the shop was nearly empty. Ruby sat alone in a corner, feeling forgotten and unimportant. As the shop closed and the parade began, Ruby could hear the cheerful music and the laughter of children from outside. She sighed deeply, convinced she would never find her purpose. Just then, the shop door jingled. A young boy named Oliver rushed in, panting. He had messy brown hair, wide, curious eyes, and a determination that belied his small frame. "Mr. Paolo, do you have any balloons left?" he asked. Mr. Paolo glanced around the nearly empty shop. "Just this one," he said, gesturing to Ruby. Oliver's face lit up. "She's perfect." Ruby's heart, if balloons could have hearts, soared. Someone had chosen her, but her excitement quickly faded. "I'm only being chosen because there's no one else," she thought. Oliver tied Ruby's string securely to his wrist and dashed out of the shop. As Ruby bobbed behind him, she saw the colorful parade in full swing. Floats with dancing couples, children holding balloons, and confetti filled the air. Ruby longed to join the other balloons in the sky, but Oliver wasn't heading toward the parade. Instead, he was walking toward a quiet part of town where cobblestones gave way to uneven sidewalks. Finally, they stopped in front of a small cozy house with a white picket fence. Oliver knocked on the door, and an elderly man with kind eyes and a slow, gentle smile opened it. "Happy Valentine's Day, Mr. Henry," Oliver said brightly, holding out Ruby. "For me?" Mr. Henry asked, his voice tinged with surprise. Oliver nodded. "I noticed you've been a little lonely since Mrs. Henry passed. I thought Ruby could keep you company." Mr. Henry's eyes softened as he carefully took Ruby's string. "Thank you, Oliver. She's beautiful." Ruby felt her sadness melt away. For the first time, she wasn't thinking about herself. Instead, she marveled at how her bright color lit up Mr. Henry's home, how his smile seemed warmer. Over the next few days, Ruby brought small but significant changes to Mr. Henry's life. He began tending to his garden again, humming tunes as Ruby floated nearby. Children who passed by stopped to say hello, drawn by the cheerful balloon in his window. Neighbors who hadn't visited in years stopped by for tea. By the end of the week, Ruby realized she hadn't been forgotten or overlooked. She had simply been waiting for the right purpose. Her shiny surface wasn't just for show. It was meant to reflect love and happiness in the lives of those who needed it most. When Valentine's Day came around the following year, Ruby was still there, slightly deflated but no less loved. And this time, she wasn't lonely. Mr. Henry had surrounded himself with friends, neighbors, and even more balloons that filled his home with color and warmth. Ruby had found her place, not in the parade, but in the heart of someone who truly needed her. Timmy was no ordinary young boy. He was a Cupid in training. With a pair of small shimmering wings and a golden bow slung over his shoulder, he roamed the skies above a charming village nestled in a valley. Timmy had been learning the art of spreading love under the guidance of Elder Cupid, a wise and kind figure who had been helping hearts find each other for centuries. Timmy, however, had a knack for trouble. His excitement often got the better of him, leading to more than a few mishaps during training sessions. Elder Cupid, with infinite patience, reminded him that being a Cupid required precision, care, and a deep understanding of the heart. One day, on the eve of Valentine's Day, Elder Cupid handed Timmy a quiver of practice arrows and gave him a special task: to guide the love between animals in the forest. It was a simple but meaningful exercise to help Timmy refine his aim and instincts. "Remember," Elder Cupid said, "these arrows are enchanted to foster connections, but only if they are used wisely." Timmy nodded enthusiastically and zoomed off into the forest. The moment he arrived, however, he couldn't contain his excitement. He began shooting arrows left and right without paying much attention. At first, it seemed harmless. A squirrel and a bird chirped happily together, and a shy deer found courage to approach a fellow fawn. But soon, things spiraled out of control. Timmy's arrows had mixed effects, creating hilariously mismatched pairings. A cat began chasing butterflies, not out of instinct, but love. A farmer's dog developed an unusual fondness for the rooster, leading to chaos in the barnyard. Even the humans in the village weren't spared. Neighbors who had been friendly rivals suddenly found themselves exchanging bouquets, while longtime couples argued over the strangest things. Timmy, oblivious to the mounting confusion, floated back to Elder Cupid, proud of his day's work. But when Elder Cupid received reports of the chaos, he sighed deeply. "Timmy," he said, "love is not a game. You've caused confusion, not harmony." Feeling ashamed, Timmy realized his mistake and vowed to make things right. Elder Cupid handed him a special arrow tipped with glowing silver feathers. "This is the arrow of clarity," he explained. "Use it to undo the confusion and set things back in order. But this time, you must listen to the hearts around you." With newfound determination, Timmy returned to the forest and village. He began by observing the animals and people closely. He learned to sense their true feelings, an unspoken bond between two shy rabbits, the deep companionship of a human and their pet dog. Timmy's aim became steady and purposeful. He paired the right animals together, restoring harmony to the forest. In the village, he carefully untangled the mismatched connections, helping neighbors find their way back to their true relationships. Each time he used the arrow of clarity, Timmy felt a warm glow in his chest, a sense of fulfillment he had never known before. By the time he returned to Elder Cupid, the village and forest were bustling with happiness and harmony. Elder Cupid smiled and placed a hand on Timmy's shoulder. "You've learned the most important lesson of all, my young apprentice. Love is about understanding and care, not haste or force." Timmy beamed with pride, his wings shimmering in the golden light of the setting sun. From that day on, he approached his training with patience and purpose, knowing that being a Cupid wasn't just about arrows. It was about bringing hearts together with love and care. Every Valentine's Day thereafter, Timmy became a cherished figure in the village, quietly spreading joy and love, one carefully aimed arrow at a time. Emma the squirrel was known far and wide in the Whispering Woods as the fastest and most dependable messenger. With her soft, bushy tail and bright, curious eyes, she zipped from tree to tree, carrying important messages and packages for all the forest animals. But her favorite job of all came every February, delivering Valentine's Day cards. Each year, the forest animals gathered at the base of the great oak tree to write heartfelt messages for their friends and loved ones. The woodland creatures trusted Emma to deliver every single card. She took her job seriously and spent days mapping out her delivery routes to make sure no one was missed. This year, as Emma prepared for her deliveries, the forest was abuzz with excitement. The cards were extra colorful, filled with glitter, drawings, and kind words. Even the shyest animals had written notes, thanks to Emma's gentle encouragement. With her satchel brimming with cards, Emma set out early on Valentine's morning. The first few deliveries went smoothly. She delivered a card to Bella the bunny, who blushed as she read the kind words from her secret admirer. The family of hedgehogs squealed with joy upon receiving a card signed by all their neighbors. Emma's heart swelled with happiness as she saw how much her deliveries meant to everyone. But as she neared the edge of the forest, dark clouds rolled in, and a fierce wind began to howl through the trees. Before Emma could seek shelter, a powerful gust tore her satchel from her shoulder. Cards scattered everywhere, swirling up into the sky and disappearing into the storm. Emma's heart sank. How would she recover the cards? Would the animals be disappointed on such a special day? She knew she couldn't let that happen. Determined, Emma climbed to the highest branch of the tallest tree to survey the forest. The storm had spread the cards far and wide. Some cards landed in thorny bushes, others in burrows, and a few even floated across the river. Emma devised a plan. She couldn't deliver the original cards, but she could still spread love and joy. Gathering materials from the forest, she began crafting new Valentine's Day messages. She used soft moss as paper, twigs dipped in berry juice as pens, and flower petals to decorate the notes. As she worked, her determination caught the attention of other animals. Bella the bunny offered her help, plucking colorful leaves for decorations. The birds flew high to search for scattered cards, bringing back whatever they found. Even the shy deer pitched in, carrying Emma's supplies on their antlers. Together, the animals worked through the day, creating beautiful new cards. Each message was filled with kind words and appreciation for one another. By evening, the storm had calmed, and Emma's satchel was full once again. With her team of helpers, Emma delivered the new cards to every animal in the forest. The animals were delighted by the handmade creations and touched by the thoughtfulness behind them. For those cards that had been lost, Emma shared heartfelt messages from memory, ensuring no one felt left out. When the last card was delivered, the animals gathered around Emma, cheering and thanking her for her efforts. They declared it the best Valentine's Day ever, not because of the glitter or decorations, but because of the love and teamwork that had brought them all together. Emma, exhausted but happy, climbed to the top of the great oak tree to watch the sunset. She realized that even in the face of challenges, the spirit of a Valentine's Day could always shine through. From that day on, the animals of Whispering Woods remembered this special Valentine's Day as the year they came together to spread love in the most meaningful way possible. Emma became an even greater hero in their eyes, not just for her deliveries, but for reminding them of the power of unity and kindness. Max was a thoughtful little boy who lived in a small town surrounded by fields and hills. Unlike most children his age, Max often gazed at the sky, particularly at night, when the moon took its place among the stars. As Valentine's Day approached, the town was buzzing with excitement. Max's classmates were busy making colorful cards for their friends and family, but Max's thoughts were elsewhere. One evening, while staring out his bedroom window, he wondered, does the moon get lonely up there, all by itself? Does anyone ever send it love? An idea began to form in Max's mind. If no one else would, he would write a valentine for the moon. It was a silly thought, perhaps, but Max believed the moon deserved to feel special too. The next day, Max gathered supplies. He chose a sheet of silvery paper and his best markers, drawing a big heart surrounded by stars. Inside, he wrote, "Dear Moon, you light up the night and make the world magical. I hope this Valentine makes you smile. Love, Max." That evening, Max carried the card to the top of the hill behind his house, where the moon looked the brightest. He held it up and whispered, "Happy Valentine's Day, Moon." He wasn't sure if the moon could hear him, but it felt good to share his feelings. To his amazement, as he stood there, a soft glow began to spread across the lake at the base of the hill. The moon's reflection shimmered in the water, and for a moment it formed a perfect heart shape. Max's eyes widened. Was that the moon's way of replying? The next night, Max climbed the hill again, this time with a notebook and pencil. He decided to keep a journal of his conversations with the moon. Each evening he would write something new, a question, a poem, or simply a thank you. Every time, the moon seemed to answer with a unique reflection. Word of Max's special connection to the moon spread among his friends and neighbors. At first, some laughed, thinking it was just a child's imagination. But others, intrigued by Max's sincerity, began to join him on the hill. They brought their own messages and noticed the moon's reflections too. Slowly, the community started seeing the moon as more than a celestial body. It became a symbol of shared love and wonder. One particularly cloudy Valentine's Day, the moon was nowhere to be seen. Max felt a pang of disappointment as he climbed the hill. He sat there alone, clutching a new Valentine he had made, hoping the moon would peek through the clouds. "I guess you're busy tonight," he murmured. But then, a gust of wind cleared the clouds just enough for a sliver of moonlight to break through. It wasn't much, but it was enough to create a tiny flickering reflection in a nearby puddle. Max smiled. Even when it seemed impossible, the moon had found a way to answer. That night, Max realized something important. The moon's replies weren't just for him. They were reminders that love and connection could be found in unexpected ways. Whether through a glowing reflection, a shared smile, or a kind gesture, the spirit of Valentine's Day could reach everyone, even if they felt alone. Over the years, Max grew older, but he never stopped writing to the moon. His simple act of kindness inspired his town to celebrate Valentine's Day, not just as a day for couples, but as a day for expressing gratitude and love to everyone, even the unseen and forgotten. And every year on that special night, the moon would shine a little brighter, casting its magical reflections for all to see, as if to say, "Happy Valentine's Day to you too." If you like our stories, please like, subscribe, and turn on the little bell, so you won't miss exciting stories every day. You are also welcome to share it with family and friends to listen to the story together. Love you.